If you want to make passive income from your blog or niche site, then this is the episode for you. In today's episode, we had the privilege of interviewing Sarah Clow from Ezoic. She is the head of brand marketing over there, and it's a great interview. We get to talk about so many different things. In fact, there's one specific thing in this interview that you got to hear. In fact, it's the number one thing that people who are using Ezoic are not doing. And she knows this because she's from the inside. She knows exactly what's going on. We even kind of semi break some news at the toward the very end of the episode as well. So be sure that you stay tuned for that to see exactly what's going to be changing, how it's going to be changing, and what it is that you can take advantage of if you haven't joined Ezoic yet. Now, if you haven't joined Ezoic yet, why haven't you started? They have no limits when it comes to the amount of traffic you need to be getting to your site. There's no traffic minimums or anything like that. You can literally start a niche site today and have it monetized by Ezoic by tomorrow. It's really that simple to set up. It's even gotten even easier since even when I signed up for it years ago. So if you would like to give Ezoic a try, be sure to check the link down in the show notes or the description. If you are watching this on YouTube, it is going to be bloggerevolution.com/Ezoic. That's bloggerevolution.com/Ezoic. Be sure to go give it a try. It's 100% free. Plus, it's a great way to monetize your site passively, and you don't have to really worry about it. You click it on, you turn it on, and then you move on with your life and continue adding content to your site. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into this amazing interview with Sarah Clow from Ezoic. And welcome back to the Blog Revolution. My name is Chris, and here we are graced with the presence of Sarah Clow. What's up, Sarah? How's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We had to do a few scheduling mishaps here or
We
there, but
did.
hey,
We
we
did.
finally were able to get it together. I
We
appreciate your
got it
time.
together. Of course. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So, let me just, if you don't mind, please just give everyone a quick background on who you are, where you came from, and what you're currently doing now over at Ezoic.
Totally. So yeah, my name is Sarah. I am currently the head of brand marketing at Ezoic. So I've been working at Ezoic for over 3 years now. I started out actually just doing social media marketing. It was my first job out of college. A lot of people are surprised to hear that when I tell them that. I often get asked like, "How did you get into this industry? How did you know you wanted to work in like the ad industry, in the publishing industry?" And I'm kind of like, "Well, I didn't know." But yeah, I knew that I wanted to work in marketing. I wanted to get into the tech space. And when I applied for a job at Ezoic, it was still a relatively small company. There was about 100 employees. And I met Tyler Bishop, who's our CMO, and he really kind of explained to me, the true value of everything Ezoic technology has to offer to the publishing world. And I was very intrigued. So I started working here, and I've done so many different jobs, all marketing related, but a lot of them just educating publishers, talking to publishers online, and learning more about just their day to days. So that's kind of what got me to where I'm at now.
That's awesome. That's an awesome
Yeah.
background too. To say this is your first job, and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, quite an overwhelming first job joining an industry that, as I'm sure you know, because you've been doing it for a long time, it's very complicated, to really understand the way that advertising works, and really just like building websites from scratch, like understanding how that works. It's definitely no easy task. So I have, over the years, come to really learn and understand a lot about it.
yeah, sometimes I forget that. I'm gonna be honest that, you know, the advertisers, you guys, you need to know how to do exactly what we do when it comes to creating the content, creating a WordPress site, and all of
Oh
this great
yeah.
stuff in order for it to work. Because it is
Yes.
a complicated process,
Yep.
you're right. Let me ask you
Yep.
this, what is display ads? Just so we can start at the nice base level
hmm
to make sure we're all in the same playing field here. What's a display ad and how can it benefit me and my blog?
Yeah. So for programmatic ads that you put on your website, a lot of these ads, they're coming from tons and tons of different places. I think a lot of publishers like probably don't really care or like think about like where the ads are coming from, but a lot of times like these ads are coming from Google. I think we all know that 90% of the ads that we see online are coming from Google. But if you're a publisher and you have a website and you want to start making money from your website, you have quite a few options. So what you need to do is kind of think about what makes the most sense for me and what makes the most sense for my audience, but also like, what's going to be the most lucrative. Because if you're someone who's creating content, as nice as it would be to just create content all day for free, it's probably not going to be a good means of living. And so you're going to need to start earning some revenue from that labor that you're putting in and content that you're creating and putting out, in the world for people to search and find. So, I mean, there's a lot of different options here. You could decide if you wanted to do a subscription based model where people, pay to get access to your content. You could be an affiliate marketer where you put affiliate links and, try to sell products and collect a commission from that. And ads are really basically you're putting digital ads on your website, similar to how you would see in a magazine or a newspaper. But again, it's just online. And these digital ads are coming from brands that are trying to put their product or their service in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So if you want to go that route, which I'm most in favor of, biased, but if you wanted to put display ads on your website, you need to get access to ad demand. Ad demand is just what we call, where ads come from, because while Google is a dominator, they do come from various, ad networks, ad exchanges, so on and so forth. And so, as a publisher, you need to work with something like Ezoic or AdSense. There's lots of options out there, but these services can give you access to ads that you can then put on your website. If you wanted to put ads on your website directly, you could maybe go out and find a brand and reach out to them and say, "Hey, I want to put your ads on my website. I think it would make sense." But good luck doing that. It's very, very difficult. And so that's why something like Ezoic makes it easier for you. Hopefully that was easy to understand. I feel like ads can be hard to simplify sometimes.
No, I appreciate you keeping it PG, telling us where ads come from, just the general audience here. So, but no, I guess it makes plenty of sense um, because we are creating these blogs that happen to be about a particular topic, people can advertise to that audience. And I could do it, the publishers could do it, but then we have to do all of the negotiating with each individual brand, and that can take a lot of headache. And I mean, we're bloggers and content publishers at the end of the day,
Totally.
so being able to have someone like Ezoic, a business out there who are going out there finding all of the people, telling us where the ads come from, and then being able to display them to the perfect person at the perfect time so that we can make, the most amount of money from our sites. That's essentially what happens, right?
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people like don't realize or think about, because again, I mean, it's been a long time since that has been, the route where like, if you have a website and you want to make money from ads on your website, where you go out yourself and like try and find ads, like that's called like a direct deal. But again, it's difficult. But another thing that I think, publishers often forget is like there is going to be an expectation of like ROI that you would have to produce there. So if you're saying like, okay, if I have a website about dogs and I email the I don't know, local dog groomer, or I could do like a dog food brand. I say, hey, I have an audience that I think would really make sense for your brand to advertise in front of. So do you want to put your ads on my website? They'll be like, yeah, sure. But also, you're going to have to provide that positive ROI for that brand. And that's just a lot of work. There's overhead costs involved. And so that's why, being able to just connect to something like Ezoic, get access to thousands of different ad demand partners, and really kind of let us kind of handle that headache makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah, and I've seen some people on the internet who say who just do try to get direct deals, and not saying that it's a foreign concept. It's a thing that people have been doing for
Totally.
a while.
Yeah.
But and then they'll brag about how they're making this much and making that much. Sometimes out of this world. But the problem with that, in my opinion, is that that's not very sustainable because, like you
Hmm.
mentioned, if they're not getting the ROI, then there's no incentive for that business to continue paying for space on your website. But when you work with a company like Ezoic, you're going to constantly have some of the best brands on your site because they've already negotiated it, and then you can just concentrate on bringing in more eyeballs. So I think
Totally.
that works
Totally.
great for what Ezoic
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, I agree. I think direct deals, I mean, they're lucrative, yes, but again, I think it really depends on your website, like your visitors and your niche too. Like those are all, factors that really matter. And yeah, I don't know. It's not an easy task. But I mean, aside from direct deals, like there are always going to be advertisers that are looking for eyeballs no matter what. That's never ever going to change, and everything is digital. So I think when you have the option to still have a very very lucrative revenue stream with display and not have to go the direct ad route, at least doing it yourself, I think it's a good option.
Yeah, and that's really one of the beauty, I think, of running display ads that, especially over the last couple of years, has become a little more prominent because
Hmm.
of, updates and this, that, and the other. That the sustainability and the predictability of the amount of money that's spent online.
Totally.
When you mentioned other options to make money online, especially with our blogs, one of which
Hmm.
being affiliate marketing. It works great,
Totally.
but it is very up and down. There's one month you might kill it, and the next month you're gonna be, scraping pennies off the bottom of the jar. And the cool thing about ads is that it is very consistent and somewhat predictable because there's always going to be businesses who want to get in front of your audience as long as you build like a nice clean audience. So that makes perfect sense.
Totally.
Why that will work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you like done affiliate marketing in the past or monetized with affiliate?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of more old school when it comes to that because when I first
Okay.
got started, I did everything affiliate marketing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's super common. I hear that from so many publishers that that's
Yeah, I
kind of
did
how they started out.
100%. That's all we did was how to monetize through affiliates, and then always ads was like the secondary. Okay, we'll just throw ads on there just because.
Yeah.
And then it was
Yeah.
AdSense ads at the time, so just like
Uh-huh.
AdSense wasn't doing the greatest for us usually. But then we always say you're gonna always make more money with affiliate marketing. You're gonna always make more money with affiliate marketing. But nowadays, because it's easier to rank for more informational content that tends to get more traffic than your standard, best X for Y post.
Hmm.
It's great to be able to partner with a company like Ezoic and just I love the standoffness of it because
Hmm.
I can install the plugin and just let it ride. I don't have to do
Hmm.
too much about placing placeholders and doing this and doing that.
Yeah, the plugin is great for that. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes it so easy.
so
I love
easy.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like the day that that came out, we were like, "Yes."
Well, because that is a bit of a barrier because for some they're
Yeah.
like, okay, I got to go out there and I got to figure out which going to be the best place. Should I put it at the top of the header, the bottom, the
Mhm.
sidebar? Is the sidebar even going to be on my website when people are visiting on mobile? All of this randomness, but Ezoic has made it so simple with their plugin
Yeah.
where you literally just plug it in and let the AI just figure it out.
Totally. And the nice thing about the plugin too is when the plugin inserts placeholders for you, it's inserting these placeholders based on like what we think is like the best practices. So if you were to have your site, set up with placeholders by someone who's been working at Ezoic for 7 years, like that would be the placeholder setup that they set up. So now anybody can just insert that, with the plugin. But going back to kind of what you said, like trying to figure out like what is the best place to put a plate, like should I put it at the top of the page? Should I not? I think that's like what's so cool about a placeholder is that it's really just like a testing location. So I always tell publishers, and again, if you're using the plugin, it makes it really easy because it'll do all this for you. But if you do want to go in and make adjustments to your placeholder setup, I always say to have at least 10 to 15 placeholders on a page. I have talked to a lot of publishers in the past who that scared them because they're like, I don't want 15 ads on my page. But I do digress that a placeholder is just a potential ad location. So you're really just saying that, hey, Ezoic, this is a place where you can test out a different ad placement or layout in this spot when a visitor lands on my page to see how lucrative it is and if it, affects user experience. So really having as many placeholders as possible is saying like, okay, Ezoic, I'm going to give you as many variables as possible to test, which results in just faster testing and optimization.
Okay, well, that leads me to this question. That's a great point that you make there because a lot of people, I mean, I think I even thought that when I first got started. I don't want ads everywhere. Can you over optimize? Would a plugin allow me to over optimize?
No, it won't.
That's great. That's good to
I pro-
hear. So Ezoic
yeah.
kind of protects me from showing too many ads, even if I did put
Yeah.
500 placeholders on the page, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I don't know. You know what? I don't know if anybody's ever put 500 placeholders on a page I don't know if anyone's put a ridiculously high number of placeholders on their page. But I mean, if you think about like if you have a long form article, like say you have an article with like 2,000 words or maybe higher because some sites do. But again, every site is very different. That's why we should be customizing, ad layouts depending on the site. But if you have an article that is super, super long, like I would say put 30 placeholders in there because it's longer form content. Again, Ezoic is going to test to figure out what is the best placement location for the user that lands on that article during that time based on historical data from that type of user.
Gotcha, and that's actually very comforting, just to make sure I
Good.
don't I
It's
don't
like,
mess it up myself, right? Because like you mentioned, I'm just trying to get more traffic and more content. I don't have time to worry about where every using ad inserter or something like that to try to figure out where
yeah.
every ad needs to go. But you did mention the personalization of the user who's on the site or the visitor, and the ads being presented to them specifically because of who they are. How does
Hmm.
Ezoic track that? Are they using cookies? Because aren't cookies going away or something? How does that work?
Yes. Yeah, cookies are going away. So I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure anybody who's listening to this, if you have been online maybe any time in the past 6 months, that you've heard the death of the third party cookies. Boom, boom, boom. It's
Dun,
like,
dun, dun.
yeah, it's very much I don't know, been treated as like a doomsday kind of effect. And I've heard it like time and time again. I actually went to like a publisher event in person and I talked to like tons of publishers there, which was really cool, by the way, because obviously, given the pandemic, we haven't been able to like see people in person in so many years. So that was exciting, side note. But yeah, I talked to tons of publishers just while I was there. And a lot of them were like, I'm really worried about, the death of the third party cookie. And it kind of surprised me because I'm like, wow, this is really telling me how many people are, so worried about this because, for me, like on my day to day at Ezoic, we're not concerned at all. It's really not anything to like be afraid of, at least for us. And it has been something that's been kind of approaching for a really long time now. Kind of feels like eternity that this has been going on. But I mean, regardless, like I think the death of the third party cookie is really coming from privacy regulations. For anybody who doesn't know, and yeah, I mean for Ezoic, we don't use third party cookies. We never have. We don't use them in anything that we do. So that personalization that I was talking about is because all of our optimizations are coming from our servers. So Ezoic sits server side. We deliver all of our ads from the server. That means that Ezoic kind of works like as a proxy between you, your website, and your host. So all of your traffic runs through Ezoic servers. And because of that, we're able to collect and store like user behavior and data that allows us to make these decisions that tell us, okay, what's the best ad placement, location, delivery, et cetera, for every visitor that lands on the page. And when I say that we're, kind of tracking that user and their behavior, it's actually not at all like the same thing as like a third party like cookie tracking. Because third party cookies, they're cooking a user and then kind of following them around the internet, that same exact person, and saying, we want to show them the same exact ad. What we're being able to test and track is basically how that user reacts to certain ad experiences as a means of user experience. So, for example, if I land on a page and I'm given a certain ad experience and I bounce from that page, or I don't, navigate further into the site, click on other pages, engage with the page, or interact, then it's going to remember that and it's going to change and adjust for a user experience that's going to be better for me. So that's kind of how our testing works and how it's a little bit different than like what third party cookies do.
Yeah, and you know what? That makes plenty of sense. I just actually read the YouTube Formula by Daryl Eves. It's a good book on how to grow on YouTube, and he mentioned on there that YouTube doesn't do the third party cooking themselves either. What they do is
I
when
didn't know
someone
that.
lands on the site, they look to see what videos they watched and
Yeah.
how their experience was.
Yeah.
Then the next time they come back, they can give them more videos like that. It would be super weird if they went to a website went to Amazon and they looked at I don't know, a battery, and then they go to YouTube, and then all of a sudden they're presented with videos from batteries. That would look kind of weird, and
Yeah.
that's not what they wanted. They want to
Yeah.
preserve the experience on the platform. So that's essentially what Ezoic is doing, right?
Yeah, that's so cool that you said that. I didn't know that, but I was thinking about like my own YouTube, just like channel homepage, and it's all like based on my history within YouTube, which just is what I would prefer, but it's not really something that you think about. But I
Yeah,
think if I were to go into
exactly.
YouTube, yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it works out, and it works out pretty well because the experience YouTube's experience has just gotten better over time, and they keep people on the platform longer and longer because of so much that they've learned from people's experiences with the videos on the platform. So Ezoic does the exact same thing. They're just
Exactly.
gathering this information based
Yeah.
on people's experience, but it's across many, many, I'm sorry, hundreds of thousands of different websites, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and so it truly is like first party data. So that's why, I mean, when we say, the death of the cookie, it's I think a good thing for publishers, especially, for Ezoic publishers because we have that first party data. We're kind of at an advantage there, but also like I mean, aside from that, just like publishers in general, like with cookies going away, I think that it's a good thing for publishers and website owners because if you think about like the reason that third party cookies were created in the first place, so they were created by, Google, Facebook, big tech. They created it back in the day so that they could capture and follow, the exact people that advertisers wanted to target. So it made advertisers' lives very easy. They did get a little lazy because they could just follow their, target audience around the internet and just show ads to them that way. Now, with that kind of going away, advertisers are going to have to work a little bit harder to advertise in front of the eyeballs that they want. So, in order to do that, especially digitally, they're going to have to seek out really good quality websites, really good quality traffic to try and get in front of the users that they want to reach. So, I think as a website owner, like you have that upper hand in that sense. And then in general, I just think that, I mean, we were kind of talking about this at the beginning, but like, digital ad spend is not going away. It's increasing year over year. Everything is online and it's going to continue to move that way. So I think it's a good thing. Safari, Firefox, they've already blocked third party cookies for over a year now, maybe longer, long time. But yeah, I mean, if you look at EPMV for Chrome and Android and compare that to Safari, it's a little bit different because of that discrepancy and that Safari and Firefox have already blocked third-party cookies, but as soon as that goes away on Chrome and Android, the playing field's going to be entirely leveled.
Yeah, yeah, that's really helpful because there's so the sky is always falling,
The
right?
sky's always falling.
There's always
There's
something
something.
that's going to end civilization as we
Yes.
know it.
Yeah.
It's just better if we just sit there. I remember at one point it was GDPR and everything that was going on in the
Yeah.
EU. Everyone
Yeah.
thought, "Oh, blogging's dead. It's never coming back.
Oh
It's
my
yada
gosh,
yada."
yes. That
This
was
is
when
just
I
the newest
first
thing.
kind of started working in this industry too, and I was like, "GDPR? What is that?" And I really was like, "This is the end of the world," but it's
Yeah,
not.
and just where we happen to be now, and I hear a lot of people, the sky is falling, this is the end, and I'm like, "Chill, it'll be fine, chill, it's
Chill.
alright, just keep rowing," and because at the end of the day, a skill of being able to attract an audience is gonna always be able to make you some money, especially because there's always businesses that was willing to pay to get in front of that audience. So, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, in my
Right.
opinion.
One thing I always say too about this, to try and provide some comfort a little bit, but like if you think about how much revenue Google gets from ads, because again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, like 90% of the ads that you see on the internet are served from Google's ad manager. You can actually like check this by if you're on a website and you kind of hover over with your mouse over an ad, in that bottom left hand corner, there's like a little load sign. If it says like G dot double click, I think it says, or maybe G dot
Mhm.
something, it's a Google ad. So most ads are coming from Google, and Google would not willingly make the change to kill off third party cookies if they really thought it was going to hurt revenue that bad, because it would hurt them probably more than it would hurt, the publishers.
Yeah, you had to look at it from a business side of view as well. It's like they
Yeah.
wouldn't what did they say, cut off their nose to spite their own face or something
Yep.
like that? They
Yes.
wouldn't do that. It doesn't make
Exactly.
sense
Yes.
for them. So
You know what? I made a comment. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I made a comment on a recent podcast that I did. And um, I think maybe we were talking about cookies. I can't remember exactly, but I said, if you think about, Google, or it was like, are websites that have ads, um, more authoritative or better than websites that don't have ads when it comes to like search traffic. And I was kind of like, maybe if you think about it, if you're a user and you're going to a site from Google search, Google is going to want you to land on those websites where Google ads are displaying. And some of the response was like, that would be so, there would be some huge legal problems with that there's no way that that's true. But if you look at where Google's been at in terms of legal problems in the past couple of years, and all of big tech, um, yeah, I know that's a controversial one, but I like to throw some things in there that stir the pot just a little bit.
No, no, I get it because I remember when I first got started on YouTube, one of the things that a mentor of mine told me was that turn on ads as soon as you can, the second you can, because and you said Google, YouTube, they'll never admit it. But
Uh-huh.
if, as soon as you have ads on there, you'll start getting more views. Trust me. And he
Yep.
wasn't wrong. Okay,
And
he
why
wasn't
is
wrong.
that? Because Google owns YouTube.
Exactly,
It makes
exactly.
sense.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that I get that.
Yeah.
So all right, let me ask you this. I'm going to circle back to the little thing here. As we, there's so many different ways to monetize. We talked about affiliate marketing and the pros and cons of it, and then we jumped into display ads. And I know a lot of people just immediately just, yeah, let me just jump on Google AdSense. Why should I choose Ezoic?
Yeah. So Google AdSense, I think, a lot of people think is it's a good starting point because I think ads can be intimidating. In fact, I know ads can be intimidating, especially if you're still new to even trying to figure out like how to build a WordPress site, like what SEO is. You want to start monetizing as early as possible, but at the same time, it's overwhelming. So I think AdSense, is an easy first step because they have the auto ads. So basically, you just put a script in the header of your site and it'll just automatically kind of like dump ads on a page. And you don't really have to do anything else. And I think a lot of people are like, yep, that's easy, that's good. The reason why I think that it's much, much better to go with something like Ezoic is going to come back to like our testing. So, this kind of goes back to like this is what sets Ezoic apart from really any monetization solution when it comes to programmatic ads. And it's basically like the way that our testing increases the value of your website to advertisers. So when you're using something like AdSense, again, it's just kind of like auto inserting ads onto the page. There's no testing behind it. There's no like reason for the ads that it's serving. It's really just kind of like a dump. It's just an ad dump. And while that's fine, like you are getting revenue from that when you're testing for that user experience, because the user experience is the most important thing. That's going to be how long does a user spend on your website? How many pages do they visit on your website? Do they engage with the page? Because when they do all of those things, then advertisers are going to bid higher for that user. And so they're going to bid higher for, the ad space on your website. So when you're using something like Ezoic and you're testing all of those things over time, your ad space, we call it your ad inventory. It's basically like to advertisers like where they can show ads on your website, it's going to become more valuable over time. And so as Zoa continues to learn and test and get better, your ad inventory just becomes more and more valuable. Advertisers are going to start bidding higher for the ad space on your website. And so eventually, I mean, over time, you will be able to start showing less ads and increasing your revenue instead of the other way around. Because what happens if you're using something like AdSense and you just use that forever, it's the opposite really direction. So you'll kind of just like dump ads on a page. Again, there's no optimizations that are happening at all. And so eventually as time goes on, in order for, something like AdSense to be able to continue to increase in revenue, like with your traffic, it's going to have to start showing more ads, more ads, more ads, in order to keep up with that same, revenue path that you're on. But really, you want to go in the opposite direction. We call that like your long-term, health of your website. I think another thing, with just kind of going off of that separately, when it comes to publishers and really their thought process when first starting a website, is really like barrier to entry. Everybody knows AdSense. Any website can start using AdSense, no matter like what your traffic level are. But again, as of the past year or so, you do not need any traffic level or page view limit in order to get access to Ezoic and to start showing ads on your website. So we have a program, it's called Access Now. And so for any website that is less than 10,000 monthly page views, you can join this program and start monetizing, which we really encourage because again, you're kind of getting a head start on like that testing and like building out that historical data.
Gotcha, gotcha. Oh, that's really cool. That is really cool. And the Access Now, that is a good service. I've used it personally myself, and
Yeah.
it works out really, really well.
Yeah, and something about I don't know how long it's been since you have, like, been in that program, but we've changed things up recently because, again, it's only about a year old, maybe 2 now. Again, I don't really know time with the pandemic
Yeah,
because everything was a blur, but with Access Now, as of recently, we no longer require any kind of test in order to get access to ads. You used to have to go through, like, a certain amount of courses. Again, the courses just teach you kind of like what ads are. They teach you how to integrate with Ezoic, and they teach you, how to put ads on your website and like what that means. And you used to need to pass, a test that says, I understand this information in order to get access. And you did have to go through all the courses, but we've gotten rid of that now. So what used to take like maybe a couple of days on average to complete, now you could do in really just an hour or so because there's no test and there's no requirements. You really just kind of walk through the course and it teaches you how to integrate. If you can set it up and do that yourself, you're good to go.
Sarah, you're like looking at my notes because that actually was my next question. Is
Really?
how, how easy is it to join
It's
Ezoic?
funny because when we started talking about that, I was like, oh, I should mention this because it is a new thing. It's only like, I think maybe a couple months old. I'm like, this would be a good thing to.
Oh yeah, because I remember going through it, and yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I think we were talking about it. Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a long process, but I
Yes,
mean, to get to the other side of it, plus the understanding that you do get from doing it is helpful. I will give it
totally.
that. And especially when you're buying and selling websites, just to see Ezoic ads on the site shows you that they have met some criteria in order to be considered, okay, this is a good enough site to show ads, and it must
Totally.
be a decent site. So I mean, I do sometimes look at a website, and if it has ads or not, I can say, okay, there's a little sense of credibility there, from.
Right, right. Because that site, I mean, regardless of, whatever they're using to monetize, you know that it adheres to Google policy because it does go through that, quality review to make sure, okay, the content is not scraped, all of the language is appropriate, and the traffic is not bot or invalid traffic. So
Yeah.
it is assuring.
Awesome, awesome. Now I got an interesting question for you. All right.
Okay.
So a lot of times, some people can kind of see certain ad networks as who they are, right? And they're trying
Yes.
to get to one point to the other, and then they might even want to, okay, I'm gonna now that I've made this particular threshold, I'm going somewhere else immediately. What's to keep someone at Ezoic even after after they've met certain thresholds? Hopefully, you understand what
Yeah.
I'm asking there.
Yes, I really just digress back to like that main point of like the testing that happens because it's so important. And this is something that Ezoic does that no other monetization solution does when it comes to display ads. Because if you look at Ezoic, we are a self-serve technology. We have technology behind everything that we do. Other players in the space, it's you're outsourcing your ad setup, ad layout, placements, whatever you want to call it. You're basically handing your website to someone and you're saying, okay, put ads on my site. They put ads on your site. Again, it's kind of like going back to that, example I used earlier of like a newspaper or a magazine where like, the ads are fixed on a page and they never change depending on who you are, what your interests are, where you're landing on the page from, if you're connected to Wi-Fi at the time, if you're on a mobile device, if you're on a desktop. Those are not things that are being tested by any other monetization solution other than Ezoic. So, when we are testing for those things for every single visitor that lands on your site, when you start getting to the range where you have around say 100,000 monthly page views, or sorry, 100,000 monthly visitors that are landing on your site, then if you think about, all of the tests that are happening every single second, millisecond, thousands of decisions being made by Ezoic technology behind the scenes, that is what's going to result in the absolute like top performance for bidders, advertisers on your website. So again, going back to that like long-term health and what I was talking about when you're comparing like an Ezoic versus an AdSense, the longer time that you spend with Ezoic, the higher your value of your ad inventory is going to be. We've seen it like time and time again. It really is you. I think you have to really think about your website and your business long term. You need to think about what is going to make the most sense, not a year from now, but 5 years from now. Like this site, is it going to be making the absolute most possible it could be and then some, or do I kind of want to like test something out now and lose all of that historical data and testing that I had gathered over time?
Yeah, yeah. So Ezoic basically helps you treat this more like a business.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, and I think like there's, I mean, aside, I know we've spent a lot of time kind of talking about, the way our technology works for ad delivery, but I mean, at Zoic, we really see ourselves as a end-to-end platform for publishers. So we have a full suite of tools, and there's technology, machine learning behind every single product that we come out with and every single thing that we do. And so, if you think about it, you have all of the control because we are a self-serve platform. But I mean, everything when it comes to video, monetizing video, SEO tools, site speed and core web vital tools, analytics, everything that we offer you is really designed to help you understand your traffic better, understand how your users behave, and then make decisions for your website based on all of those things.
That's cool, because like you mentioned, in the end, that's really now that I think about it, you're right, I mean, obviously, but but when you're going through the
Thanks.
whole process, there's so many things that Ezoic does offer. You have the Leap, which helps your website go faster. You can
Hmm.
even host a website for a publisher if you'd like. And I mean, I can't even think of any more, but I mean, there's so many that
Totally.
that, that are there that really, like you mentioned, no other networks are really offering that
Totally.
at all.
Yeah, and you know what? When you mentioned Leap, it reminded me of something too that in the past couple of weeks we've noticed Google inside of Core Web Vitals, or sorry, not inside of Core Web Vitals, inside of Page Speed Insights, so like Lighthouse, Google Dev Tools. So if you're like testing your speed on your site using one of those tools, if you're not passing any of the certain Core Web Vitals areas, it comes up with like recommendations, like you need to improve this, you need to improve that. So now Google is actually recommending Leap, Ezoic Leap, in some of our optimization settings in there, like our critical CSS optimizations. It's recommending use Ezoic Leap to help with this. And it's also recommending our caching app. So we've seen, sites where it runs a test in it and Google says use Ezoic's caching app to help with, caching for your website. And so I'm like, that's cool that Google's now telling users to use our speed optimization products, which is so awesome to see.
Yeah, and just to be clear, you didn't negotiate that at all, right? It just popped up one day?
No, so what happened is I think somebody sent it to marketing and was like, "Did you guys do this?" And we were like, "No," but maybe we should be like, "Yeah, we did that." So yeah, but I mean, we are a Google publishing partner, so they have
Yeah.
transparency over all of our products. We, shared with them what products we're coming out with before they come out, so they know how all of our products work. So I'm sure that had a factor in it.
Yeah, no, and that's pretty cool that Google themselves, on their own volition, recommends Ezoic
Yes,
Leap to help
yes,
your site pass Core Web Vitals. That's
yes. It's
huge. That
awesome.
is really, really huge.
It's awesome. We've come a long way from Site Speed Accelerator. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Hey, that was a knock a while ago. I'll say it was a while ago, but early on, hey, Ezoic's great, but it slows down your site, but no more, right?
No more. Yes, no more. That
That's
was like a
awesome.
perfect example of like really us kind of like listening to what our, publishers are saying, like what are their reactions here? And, we learned from that and we were able to completely sunset that product and come out with something that is amazing and a million times better.
Yeah, they even Google approves now.
Yes,
Now, you
yes.
mentioned, listening to your audience, which I can definitely attest, you definitely do. One of the things that comes up a lot is Ezoic Premium, and how with
Yes.
Ezoic Premium, a lot of people can see, "Oh, yeah, I'm getting better ad partners, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, but I gotta pay for it." Could you explain how that works?
Yes. So this comes at a good time because it does align with what we were talking about earlier when it comes to like direct deals. So, Premium is our invite only program. It allows publishers to get access to direct deals, actually. So we have premium ad partners that we Ezoic work with, and these are again like big brands that Ezoic, because we are a large organization and we have thousands, tens of thousands websites in our network. We can use that almost as a selling point to these larger brands and say, look, we have all of these websites that you could display your ad campaigns on, and we will, provide that ROI, and we will cover that overhead cost to deliver on those ad campaigns. And because we kind of have that bargaining power, then these brands are willing to work with us. And so that's kind of what premium is. The reason it's invite only is because every campaign is so different, and the brands that we work with often change. We need to make sure that whatever website we are running these ad campaigns on, we can deliver a positive ROI. So that's why it is invite only. So if you're someone who is interested in being invited to premium and you haven't yet, I always tell publishers really just try and focus on growing traffic to your site and then producing like good, clean content, and really driving traffic in healthy ways, not doing anything that is maybe a little suspicious or maybe trying like some bot traffic, stuff like that. Because as your site continues to grow and continues to prove healthy, then we'll be able to deliver ad campaigns on those sites. So that's kind of what premium is. Again, the subscription cost does come from the overhead costs that we cover in order to deliver those direct ad deals. But yeah, does that kind of make sense about like what kind of goes on with premium?
Yeah, there's power in numbers, right? And
Yes,
because you
totally.
have so many, you can probably broker better deals because you have so
Absolutely.
many, right?
Yeah. So we have a whole team that's just dedicated to going out and like getting these deals for our premium publishers. So again, what we were talking about earlier with like how difficult it can be, because it really is, if you think about back in the day, like you would go out, try and sell yourself, or even like when magazines were still a thing, you would go out and you'd bring the magazine rep out and you like buy them a fancy dinner or something and try and be like, all right, so we want to advertise on your
Take them
magazine.
golfing.
Right, vice versa. Obviously, that's not how the world works anymore, so much so because everything's very digital now. And so, yeah, we do have that bargaining power because we have such a large network of websites that use Ezoic. And because, again, we are a very large company, brands can trust that we can deliver that positive ROI.
Nice, nice. Well, that's really cool because that is a growing sentiment. A lot of people are wondering about that. Why is it separate and different? But it's because you're able to get better, higher paying deals, which
Yes,
inevitably leads to more money. So
yes,
that's
yes.
really cool.
I will say, going off of that, just premium, and I can't share any information because
Uh-oh. Do you have to whisper it?
I have to whisper.
Okay.
There will be some big changes to premium and the offerings there, and just some announcements to kind of how we're revamping the entire program that I think a lot of people are going to be very, very happy with. That's all I can say. But
Are we breaking
just
news on the Blog Revolution
breaking news.
podcast?
Yeah, it is breaking news. Unfortunately, I can't share any more information than that. But yeah, just be expecting some announcements there about some changes that I think are going to be very, very positive for everybody involved.
Well, that's just an excuse to have you back on, Sarah.
Right
You know?
there, you go. Let's schedule it.
All right, cool. So let me ask you this. So I'm with Ezoic. I finally get on. I'm getting ads displayed on my site. Everything's great. What's one ninja trick that I just keep missing that I need to be doing?
Okay, the number one thing that publishers need to be doing if you are monetizing with ads, you need to put video on your website. 1000%. So Ezoic has a video player. So we have a few video products and we are coming out with more. There's actually quite a few in our beta test platform right now, which is called Trailblazer, where we allow publishers to beta test different products. But aside from that, Video Player has been a product that's been out for a while. What Video Player does, it allows you to host videos on your website. So if you create a video and put it on YouTube and then embed that video, that YouTube video on your site, you can still get ad revenue from that. But again, it's not as lucrative because again it's coming from YouTube and they keep such a high percentage of that ad revenue. So when you self-host your own videos on your website, the revenue that you keep is immensely higher. So again, I really recommend if you haven't yet dabbled with video. I know it's intimidating for a lot of people to, figure out how to go from like writing content to creating video content. But, if you look out there online, there's quite a few resources that you can use, to help you create video content. I know we've talked about like Canva Pro is an option, or you could just, film something yourself if you don't want to be in a video.
Hmm.
There's other options out there, but I've even shared with publishers before, like a good starting point just to test out, how lucrative video is would be to do like an intro to your website kind of video. And it can just be explaining like, hi, welcome to my website. Here is some of the information that you can find in my website. And you can just run that as a playlist that plays throughout your site. So our video player, works the exact same way as our ad placeholders do. So it's going to insert videos wherever it makes sense for the user in the content in order to get the most views and plays, in order to get also like the most people watching the entire video. So if you have a page that maybe has pretty good traffic, but the EPMV, isn't where you would want it to be, I highly recommend, and I can't recommend it enough, putting a video on that page and just watching that EPMV skyrocket.
Wow. Okay. So that's powerful because I've shown a lot of people, helped a lot of people start YouTube channels and do this, that, and the other, and it's real about getting in front of a camera or even just speaking in front of a camera, right? What
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
doing now is a fear for a
It
lot of
is.
people.
Yes.
Does Ezoic help with creating video?
Yes, so we do. And we have a product that is going to be available sometime soon. Again, Trailblazer is where you can access tools that are in alpha and in beta. So if you have access to Trailblazer, again, if you're a level 1 or higher, you'll be able to see certain things in Trailblazer. So you can check in on that to see if there's something new that you can test out. But one product that we have been working on building out for quite some time is a video generator. So it's an AI tool. It doesn't have an official name yet, so I'm not going to say something and coin that term, but it is a tool that allows you to create video yourself. So what you can do is go in and it looks similar to something like Canva Pro or really anything that you've maybe used to piece together like a presentation or a PowerPoint in the past. But what you can do with this tool is select an article from your site, or maybe you haven't published an article yet. You have something, a script in your Google Docs you haven't yet put on WordPress. You can copy and paste that article, insert it into this tool, and it's going to auto generate in just a few seconds a video for that article.
Hmm.
It pulls all of the content and it basically learns from the content to deliver it in a video that's actually extremely impressive. So it's going to generate that video, but also you have the ability to edit it and change things because you might not be super happy with, just the way it is. Or if you're like me, you are very picky about things being your way. And so you have the option to go in and change the design. You can switch up the layout. You can take out any information that you don't want to be in there. But you can pull from so many different creative materials here to put this video together. So there's stock images, there's B-roll videos that you can drag and drop into that video, and then also it's narrated. So we have tons of different AI narrators that actually sound like real people. So it doesn't really sound like Siri, but it sounds like, someone's presenting that information. And it'll pull from the article and pull kind of a script and put a script together for like how to present that information. You can edit that if you want. Again, there's lots of customizations available. So it's a really great and easy way to put video on your website if you don't want to get behind a camera. And hopefully that's going to be available for a lot more publishers in the coming months.
Right. That's awesome. And to get
Yeah.
access to that, you said you had to be level 1 or above within Ezoic?
So it'll be kind of a trickle down effect because
Okay.
we're really going to start out with this tool testing with really small groups. And then as we start to get more feedback and we can make updates to it and make it better, then it'll just become available to more and more groups. So again, I would just be checking the Trailblazer area of your dashboard. Trailblazer is our beta program. So it's optional. Again, if you just want to wait until the finished and final product is available in your dashboard, you can do that too. But if you want to be part of the beta testing group, it is going to be in Trailblazer eventually for level 1 and up.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about that. It's so cool. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many possibilities out there
Yeah,
with that, and with video being so ingrained in society already, being able to infuse that on a blog can help liven up the blog too, which is
completely.
really, really cool.
And I also think you're giving options too for, um, just more people to consume that content because maybe,
Yeah.
if you're looking for content and you don't have time to read the article or you can't look at your phone and you can listen to that, it's already just, it's you're putting your content out there for more people to consume in different ways, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, like maybe even a little ADA stuff right there
Yes,
is helpful as
yes.
well. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, look, we're at the end of our time. Look, you've cleared
Time
up so
flies.
many things. Yeah, we almost need another hour, you know.
Yes, we'll
But
do that other podcast. We'll schedule that and do another
okay,
one.
sounds like wait till we get the name to some of these programs that you can
Yes,
publicly
yes.
come out, break the news on the podcast. I'll be happy with that. But other than that, I mean, is there anything else that maybe we didn't talk about that maybe you want to hop on briefly, or are we good?
Not that I can think of, but I also haven't had coffee yet today, so maybe that's why. But I do feel like we covered our bases very well.
Oh, what man, it was all you. You know, you able to
Thanks.
infuse so much clarity in
Thanks.
what can some see on the inside or from the outside of being a little hazy, but you cleared up a lot of that.
That makes me happy. That's my job here. Everything that we do at marketing is really education based. So everything that I've done here in the past couple of years has really been to just help publishers understand and then just educate them further on the space.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much. Where can people find you if they want to chat with you, talk with you, or where can they
Yes,
go?
so I'm actually new on Twitter. Woo! I made a Twitter a couple weeks ago, maybe like a month ago, and it really is supposed to be, it's a Twitter kind of focused to this industry and really just like the publishing world. So I am Sarah Knows Web. So my name is Sarah, so it's the first three letters of my name, SAR, and then Knows Web, WEB. So find me there, follow me, I'll follow you back.
Hey, I'll be sure to put that in the description as
Yeah,
well.
thank
Twitter's
you.
had this resurgence because it's been out for forever, and all of a sudden, everyone's going back to Twitter. So I don't know
So
what's going on.
yeah, the thing is, like, I have a personal Twitter that I've had since like 2010,
Yeah,
but I was quite young in 2010, and so I was like tweeting about Justin Bieber, and I'm not going to try and relive in that Twitter. So I made a new one. Just seemed to make the most sense.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, cool. So everyone should follow you on Twitter. Hey, go do that right
Yes,
now. I'll put a link down in the show notes so
thank
that you can
you.
check out her newest, latest, and greatest Twitter. And as she promised, she'll follow you back. I
I
mean,
will. I will. A great follow back. Follow for follow.
exactly. There you go. Well, thanks so much, Sarah, for being on, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.